We begin our service at the top of page 10 with Hine Ma Tov, how good and sweet it is to be all together this morning.
Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, hine ma tov. La 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 la. Hine ma tov, hine ma tov. La 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 la. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
Shabbat Shalom once again. Welcome to the Temple Congregation Ahavat Chesed. We are so happy to be celebrating Shabbat with you this morning, and of course celebrating as Sarah Weisberg becomes a bat mitzvah. So whether you are here physically in the sanctuary with us or on the live stream, Shabbat Shalom, it is so good to be with you, and we are so happy to celebrate with the Weisberg family. I'd like to invite up Sarah to begin our service, and we can follow along with her on page 170.
May my life be one link in a chain of goodness. As I say the prayers of my ancestors, help me to recall their devotion and faithfulness, their joy and suffering, which are in every word. Holiness is my heritage, may be worthy of it. May our tradition live in me and pass from me to generations I shall never know, enriched by the truth that I have found and the good deeds I have done. So may I fulfill my task on earth and receive my blessing. And when the service ends and the prayers have ceased, help me to bring the Spirit into the world in which I live. May I love God above all, as my neighbor, as myself, and be a living witness to the truth that never changes.
One of the many milestones that we are celebrating with Sarah today is that she will receive her talit, her prayer shawl, which is a marker of this moment in her life, this moment of becoming a Jewish adult, this moment of her being empowered to learn from our tradition and make it her own. So to present her talit, I'd like to invite up her parents, Andrea and Dan, and we'll turn to page 72 for the blessing.
As I wrap myself in the talit, I fulfill the mitzvah of my Creator. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher k'ishanu b'mitzvah v'tzivanu lahi tatev bat tzitzi. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to wrap ourselves in the fringes.
Thank you, Andrew and Dan. We continue with Ma Tovu on page 74.
Ma tovu, ma tovu. Ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, Shkenotecha Yisrael. Va'ani berov chasdecha, avo etecha. Eshtachli eilecha, kol shecha yiratecha. Ma tovu, ma tovu. Ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, Shkenotecha Yisrael. Adonai ahavti me'od beitecha, kol mishkan kvodecha. Ani eshtachvi li'echra. Evricha lifnei Adonai hosi. Ma tovu, ma tovu. Ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Mishkenotecha Yisrael.
Page 78.
My God, the soul you have given me is pure. You created it, you shaped it, you breathed it into me, and you protect it within me. For as long as my soul is within me, I offer thanks to you. Adonai, my God, and God of my ancestors, source of all creation, sovereign of all souls. Praised are you, Adonai, in whose hand is every living soul and breath of humankind. Baruch atah Adonai, asher b'yado nefesh kol chai v'ruach kol besar ish.
The next section of our morning prayers is called Nisim B'chol Yom, for daily miracles. It's a reminder that there are miracles all around us all the time, even when life is difficult and we have a lot of struggles both in our own lives and in the world. We are still here. We wake up in the morning, we see the beauty of nature around us, the sun rises, Sarah Weisberg becomes bat mitzvah. All of these things bring beauty and joy into our lives, and they are our miracles. So Sarah will lead us in the Hebrew, beginning on page 80, and we will respond in the English.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan l'sekvi v'nat l'chavhin ben yom uvein laila.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivrim.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who opens the eyes of the blind.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who frees the captive.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, sokev kefufim.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who lifts up the fallen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, rokah haaretz al hamayim.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who stretches the earth over the waters.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechi mitzadei gaver.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who strengthens our steps.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish harumim.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who clothes the naked.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten le'ev koah.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who gives strength to the weary.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hama'aver she'nai me'anai, utnu ma'mei afabai.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzel Elohim.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who made me in the image of God.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani bat korin.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has made me free.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has made me a Jew.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, osir Yisrael b'gvura.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who girds Israel with strength.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, otir Yisrael b'tafara.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who crowns Israel with splendor.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asot divrei Torah. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to engage with words of Torah.
Page 88.
These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, which the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all.
We continue on page 106 with Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkadash Shmei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yalmad yivrach yerutev, yamlich machutev, v'chayachon v'yomechon v'chay dechol Beit Yisrael, b'hagala v'zeman kariv, v'yimneru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach, le'olam l'mi almaya, yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitadeh v'yithalal Shmei Nekudsha. Brichu le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran v'alema, v'yimaru. Amen.
We rise in body or spirit as we continue with our call to prayer, the Baruch Hu, which is on page 108.
Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Adonai, Hamevorah, Baruch, Adonai, Hamevorah, Hamevorah, Le'olam Va'ed. Hamevorach, Hamevorach, Le'olam Va'ed.
Page 110.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvorei choshech oseh shalom shalom uvorei et hakol yotzer or uvorei choshech oseh shalom shalom uvorei et hakol.
111.
In the beginning, even then, a new light was sown for the righteous, a promise that your light would become the catalyst, first for order and then for hope. Author of language and light, help us to use words as you have, to cast light into dark waters and draw out justice and truth. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzei HaMoreh.
Page 113.
Love your neighbor as yourself. You said, in light blinded we saw, that inner and outer worlds are one as you are one. You spoke, and we wrote. We reached for you down the centuries, your light moving before us. As we climbed, fell back, and climbed again, your Sinai of life. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael be'avaha.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Please be seated.
Ve'ahavta Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anohi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta bam B'shivtecha, b'techa, uvetcha, v'adere, u'shokvecha, u'vkumecha, u'kshartam leho al yadecha, v'hayu latotafo b'neinecha, u'vtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'visharecha. Lema'an tiskeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai ve'yatem kodashim le'elohehem ani Adonai Elohehem asher hotzer teyehem me'eretz Mitzrayim le'yot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
Page 121.
Emet, there is no place where you are not, even in the wilderness there is your word. Emet, that pen strokes of lightning, white fire, black flame, steer the soul's passion, guide our sacred way, true and enduring as Torah. Your truth for us is certain and established, now and forevermore, like Moses, Miriam, and all Israel. We sing out and rejoice.
We continue with Mi Chamocha, our song of freedom and redemption, on page 122.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh. ממך שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו, והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש. Adonai, God Yisrael.
We turn to page 124 and rise in body or spirit as Sarah leads us in the Amidah.
Adonai, Sifatai Tach Ufia Gita Hilateha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, V'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, El Hagadol, Hagibor V'hanara, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, Bekonei Hakol, Bezocher Haste Avot V'yamot, Umi Vigua Levinei V'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo B'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Me'ayeh Hakol Atah V'Hoshia, Mashiv HaRuach Umri Et HaGashem, Mechakeh Chayim Behesed, Mechayeh Hakol Berahamim Rabbi, Someh Noflim Verofei Kolim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Baal Gevurot, Umido Mehelav, Melech Meimid, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lachayo hakol, Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hakol.
Nikadesh Shimcha ba'olam, Kishem Shemakdishim oto b'shmim arum, Kakatuv li'ad neviecha, V'kara zeh el zeh ve'amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzivot, Meloch ol haaretz, Kevodo, Adir, Adirenu, Adonai, Adonenu, Madir, Shimacha b'chol haaretz, Baruch kevod Adonai mimkomo. Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu hu Malkeinu, hu Moshienu vehu Yashmienu, berachamav leinei kochai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai leolam, Elohai Zion, ledor vador, Hallelujah. Ledor vador nagid God lecha, unetzach netzachim kedushatcha nakdish, v'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please be seated. We continue on page 132 with Yismechu, a celebration of Shabbat.
Yismechu v'malachutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'korei, odei Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'korei, odei Shabbat. Mikadashei, mikadashei shvi Shabbat, kulam yizbu, v'yitangu mitu lecha Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'korei, oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'korei, oneg Shabbat. Umashli ratzita bo v'kidashto Shabbat. Chemdat yamim otokarat Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'korei, oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'korei, oneg Shabbat. Zeru למעשה בראשית שבת, זכרו למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת, וקורא עונג שבת.
Page 134.
Our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvah and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai our God, grant us your holy Shabbat as a heritage. May Israel, who sanctifies your name, rest on Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
137.
Ever present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, You are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levcha be'yirach na'avod.
Our next prayer is a prayer of thanks and gratitude for everything that we see around us, everything in the universe that has made us who we are and brought us to this day, and everything that enables us to celebrate and live together and rejoice on special mornings like today. So we continue on page 139, and as Sarah reads aloud some of these ideas, some of these values that we hold dear, we will respond with the words, Modim anachnu lach, which means we give thanks to you.
For the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations.
Modim anachnu lach.
For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons.
Modim anachnu lach.
For the joy of human life, it wonders and surprises, it hopes and achievements.
Modim anachnu lach.
For human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and just in the midst of hostility and oppression.
Modim anachnu lach.
For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding the views not shared.
Modim anachnu lach.
For all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom.
Modim anachnu lach.
For human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose.
Modim anachnu lach.
We pray that we may live not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulcha ne'el hadot.
We continue on page 140 with Sim Shalom, a prayer for peace.
Sim shalom, tova uracha, chen v'chesed rachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael amecha, parchinu yotzreinu kulanu kechad, ve'or panecha, ki ve'or panecha natata lanu, Adonai Eloheinu. Sim shalom, tova uvracha, chen v'chesed verachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael amecha, urat chaim yachavat chesed, yachavat chesed, utzedakah uvracha v'rachamim, v'chaim v'shalom. Sim shalom, tova uvracha, chen v'chesed verachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael amecha, v'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael, b'chol עת ובכל שעה, בשלומך. שים שלום, טובה וברכה, chen v'chesed verachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael amecha.
We take a moment for our own personal prayer and reflection.
shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
The next part of our service is Seder Kriyat HaTorah, our service for the reading of the Torah, where Sarah will chant words from our holy text publicly for the first time, another milestone of this special morning of her becoming a bat mitzvah. So I'd like to invite up our ark openers, Jessica, Jordan, and Joshua Weisberg, sorry about that, Ethan and Max Wigato, along with Sarah's parents, Andrea and Dan, and her grandparents, Eileen Weisberg and Diane Nortman, and invite us all to rise as we take the Torah from the ark. We're on page 244.
Ein kamocha Elohim Adonai, ve'ein k'ma'asecha, malachutecha malachut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch, le'olam va'ed. Adonai oz le'moitein, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, ki mitzion teitzei Torah, u'devar Adonai mirushalayim.
In the beginning, we are told that there was nothing, there was chaos and a void. And slowly, as the earth began to come into existence, so too did people, and so too did our holy tradition. And as our tradition got spoken from generation to generation, it was then written down and preserved within these scrolls on this parchment so that every generation could learn from it and manage to navigate the Torah in their own time and teach it to their children to pass on our traditions and our stories and our values. And so today, we imagine that this line on our bima is not merely with 3 generations of Sarah's family, but it stretches all the way back this way, all the way back to creation. And we hope that the line will continue after Sarah as well, all the way that way, as she continues to learn and study Torah. And days like today remind her that she is also an inheritor of our tradition, and she will be able to learn from it and teach it to her children and her children's children, and continue to pass it down as our people have done since the beginning of time.
Baruch Shenatan
You don't have to hold it.
Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Le'amo Yisrael, B'kedushato, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu Gadlu Adonai iti, uneromim Shemo yachdav. Lecha Adonai hagedula, v'hagibura, v'hatiferet, v'hanetzach, v'hahod. Kol bashamayim uvaret, kol bashamayim uvaret, lecha Adonai hamlacha, v'amid na'aseh lechol lerosh.
Please be seated. For our first aliyah, we have Sarah's grandmother, Diane Nortman, and we'd like to invite up Eric Nortman, Adam and Camille Nortman, Scott and Meredith Nortman.
You can
scoot all the way over. Yeah.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, Yom HaHodesh Harishon be'ehad laHodesh, Takim et Mishkan Ohel Moed, V'sam Tasham et Aron ha'edut, V'sakota al Aharon et ha'brochet, Ve'veta et Hashohan ve'arachta et erko, Ve'veta et Hamnara ve'alata et neroteha, V'natata et Mitzvah hazechav liktoret livnei Aron ha'edut, V'samta et Masa ha'peta v'mishkan.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Beautifully chanted. So, along with blessing the Torah on Sarah's special day, you have the very important responsibility of giving her a big hug and a kiss before you leave the bima. Could be a handshake, could be a fist bump, however you would like to say Mazel Tov. And once you are done with that, feel free to head back down to your seat. For our second aliyah, we call up Sarah's grandmother, Eileen Weisberg, as well as Scott Weisberg, David Weisberg, and Cynthia and William Wigato.
Yom Tov, the Aliyah Hasheni.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
V'natata et Mitzvah ha'olah livnei peta mishkan ohel moed. V'natata et hakior bein ohel moed uvein hamitzbeah. V'natata sham mayim. V'samta et ha'atzer saviv. V'natata et masa sha'ar ha'atzer.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech Asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. And yes, you also have a very important responsibility. Thank you all. For our third Aliyah, we call up Sarah's brother Aaron and her parents Andrea and Dan.
Yamdu l'aliyah shlishi.
Baruch et Adonai Hambarach,
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Vaed, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Bilakakta et shemen hamishha umashakta et hamishkahan ve'et kol asher bo v'kidashta oto ve'et kol kelahav vaya kodesh umashakta et hamizbah ha'olah ve'et kol kelav v'kidashta et hamizbeah v'haya hamizbeah kodesh kodeshim umashakta et Hakior ve'et kano v'kidashta oto.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'hayei olam nata b'tohenu, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher Koach, a beautiful job. And yes, you've already gotten to give Sarah quite a few hugs and kisses this weekend, but you can, yep, very good. There'll be more opportunities. And for our fourth and final Aliyah, we call to the Torah our bat mitzvah, Sarah Weisberg.
Before I call her officially, I just want to remind everybody Sarah has worked very, very hard for this day and needs to concentrate while she's chanting her last Aliyah. Please don't talk while she does that. Thank you so much. Ta'amod Sara Mia bat Shabtai Pesach ve'Aharona Miriam Bachura bata mitzvah le'aliyah laTorah.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vehikrav taha et Aharon ve'et banav el peheta ohel moed. V'rahatzta otam b'mayim, v'yilbashta et Aharon et bigdei hakodesh, mashachta oto, v'kidashta oto v'kihin li, ve'et banav takriv, v'yilbashta otam kutono, u'mashachta otam kasher, mashachta et avihem, v'kihanu li, Uvta liot lahem mashachtam lekihanu olam literotam vayahas Moshe kekol asher siva Adonai oto kenosah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet. V'hayei olam nata b'tohenu, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher Koach, Sarah, beautiful job. You can have a seat for a moment. It is our tradition that while our Torah is out, we take a moment to think of those in our world who are in need of healing, whether it be healing of the body or the mind of the spirit. We turn to page 253. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. Today, our congregation is praying for Carol Babcock, Susan Board, Jim Brady, Rita Brady, Marilyn Burgay, Howard Sherwin, Pauline Sherwin, Harold Cohen, Brittany Combs, Tom Davis, Susan Derby, Helene Edwards, Sarah Fabian, Beverly Fruit, Norman Gurwitch, Jesse Halpern, Stephen Harlan, Mary Hartman, Carolyn Cantor, Barry Kaufman, Robert Kay, Andrea Mitchell, David Osofsky, Laura Osofsky, Bert Peters, Buddy Pollock, Jean Posen, Ron Rappaport, Randall Rout, Marlene Reb, Sandra Resnikoff, Toby Ringel, Devorah Bat-Rachel, Alex Rosin, Adele Shamban, Judy Shea, Pat Schomer, Ruthie Silver, Nicholas Sobek, Judy Van Gorder, Marcia Sarah, Batbela Vayitzhaka, Mary Williams, Todd Zetlin. Of course, we think of all of those in the Ukraine and its region who are impacted by violence every day and are very much in need of healing. If you have a name that you would like to share out loud with our community, please do so as I look around the room. Anyone over here? Okay, Bob. Thank you. Marcia. Thanks. Jesse Weisberg. Thanks. And the names we say aloud and those we hold in our hearts, we continue with the words of Misha Berach. Misha Berach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Imotenu. May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu mikor habracha avotenu. That's those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Amen. We continue at the bottom of page 252 as we lift and dress the Torah. I'd like to invite up Dan to lift the Torah for us, and Jared and Tyler Nortman to dress it as we all rise.
Vezot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael ki Adonai v'yad Moshe. Lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 yai lai lai lai. Yai lai 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 yai lai lai lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai.
Please be seated. Another element of becoming bat mitzvah is chanting words from our prophets called the Haftarah. This morning, Sarah will be chanting for us some verses from the book of 1 Kings, and you can follow along with that on your sheet. And if you want to follow along with the blessings, they're on page 254.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratzah v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai haboher b'torah u'Moshe avdo u'v'Yisrael amo v'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. V'tishlam kol hamlecha asher asa hamelech Shlomo beit Adonai v'yaveh Shlomo et kodeshei David aviv et hakesef ve'et hazehav ve'et hakalim Natan be'otrot beit Adonai ad v'kel Shlomo et ziknei Yisrael et kol rashei hamatot nisei ha'avot livnei Yisrael el hamelech Shlomo Yerushalayim ve'ha'alot et Aaron b'ri Adonai ma'ir David hitzion v'yikalu el hamelech Shlomo kol yish Yisrael be'erach ha'atenim behag hu ha'hodesh hashvi'i v'yavalu kol ziknei Yisrael v'yas'u ha'kohanim et Aaron v'ya'alu et Aaron Adonai ve'et Ohel Moed ve'et kol kilei ha'kodesh asher ba'ohel va'alu atam ha'kohanim ve'alvim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzur kol halomim tzadik b'chol hadarot ha'el hane'eman hamer v'hoseh hamdaber kayem shekol devara emet v'tzedek al haTorah v'al havdah v'al hanvi'im b'yom hashabbat hazeh shenatan lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdasha v'limnucha lehavhod ultifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu hanachnu modim la umvarhim ota yiparashim chal b'fi kol hai tami le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha'shabbat.
Amen. Thank you, Sarah. We've arrived at a very important moment in our service where Sarah will teach us some of her Torah. She's worked very hard to learn about what's in her Torah portion and think about how it can apply to her and to us today. So she will now teach us.
Shabbat Shalom. I wanted to thank all of you for coming to my service this morning. After all this singing, writing, and procrastination, I finally made it. Everyone here has helped me to become a bat mitzvah and contribute in their own ways as a part of my journey towards standing here today. What does it mean to be a bat mitzvah? I think it is following the traditions that have been passed on to me. I celebrate each holiday with my family, whether it's going to see extended family or staying at home. We make food and do all the prayers together just as my parents did growing up. Both of my parents went to a Jewish sleepaway camp as kids, and I'm following in their footsteps by going to Camp Blue Star. At camp is where I make traditions as well. I do Shabbat and sing songs with all my friends. To be Jewish means being a part of a community where everyone is accepted in their own ways. If you have a time where you say a prayer before or after something, you can do what you want without being judged. I felt accepted when I didn't know all the Jewish songs that were done at Shabbat at camp. The people around me saw I didn't know, and they accepted me and taught me the songs right away. My Torah portion, Pekudei, in the book of Exodus, Moses demands exact records of all the precious metals used in the building of the tabernacle because he wanted to be sure no one would think he had taken some of the precious metals and kept them for himself. This teaches us that leaders must be exacting and deliberate in their public dealings so that they will always remain above suspicion of corruption. And it is about accountability and being responsible to yourself. You do that in your everyday life. I show accountability when I get ready every day because I'm waking up on time to get to school, and I am responsible to study for my test. In algebra, I had to study and ended up getting 100 on my test. I'm being accountable to myself by studying and not giving up to make sure I get good grades. For soccer, I need to make sure I can go to every game I can so we have enough players to play. For my friends, I am also accountable for being trustworthy and making sure I can trust them. This applies to all the work you do to stay accountable to yourself. I have a lot of role models who have shown me to not give up and always succeed. My parents tell me to do something even if I do not want to. They will make sure that I get it done. My soccer coach makes sure that I give it my all and push myself to be strong. Being a bat mitzvah means having your own beliefs passed on through your heritage. An impact today will have on becoming a Jewish adult in my life will be that I will always remember this day and what I have accomplished throughout my life. I will show my growing commitment to Judaism by remembering my Torah portion, Pekudei, and the lessons it has taught me. In my Mitzvah project, I had a perfect example of accountability. I volunteered and did 10 major Mitzvah categories and 3 of my choice. They all had to do with helping someone. It was a lot of fun, and it made me happy to see other people happy for the things that I did. It was a diligent pursuit of knowledge. This connects with my Torah portion because I needed to study extra hard to get a good grade on the test. I needed 100 to get an A for the quarter, and I was happy because I did end up getting an A. But not only was I happy I got a 100, but I also learned what you put into it is what you get out of it. This also relates for my soccer. I need to be accountable for my team, and they need to also be accountable for me. I need to give it my all in each game and not give up. You need to give it your all at every game so you can win. Everyone on the team needs to be accountable for the team. For example, if I move up and start dribbling, someone would need to drop back for me. Now I would like to give a special thank you to my parents. They have helped me get here today by making me study and even coming into my room when I had to get on a Zoom for my lessons. They made sure that I did not give up and keep on going. Thanks to my brother for making me laugh and setting the expectations that I had to have on this special day. Thank you, Rabbi Glasser, for giving me a lot of help and tips on all my Hebrew, especially on my speech. Another thank you to Canterbury for making sure I'm 100% ready for today and all the help she gave me. Also, a big thank you to my tutor, Lori Simmons, for making sure that I learned everything I needed to know for this day. Without her, I would not have known any of this. Lastly, I just wanted to say thank you to all my friends and family who came here to share this special moment with me in person or virtually, especially to everyone who came here from out of town to spend this day with me.
Thank you, Sarah. Some important lessons you taught us. Beautiful. So we will now return our Torah to the Ark. We're on page 256. I would again like to invite up Jessica, Jordan, and Joshua Weisberg, and Ethan and Max Wigato as we arise to open the Ark.
Tehillah lecho chasida,
B'tzayim hi lemachzikim ba v'tomcheha meushar diracheha darechei olam v'chol netivoteha shalom Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Chadish, Chadish Yameinu Chadish Yameinu Kekeden. Please be seated. Now that Sarah has read and chanted and prayed and taught us, she now gets to hear some words from members of her community. So first, our parents, Andrea and Dan.
Sarah Morgan Weisberg, you did it. This special day is finally here, and we are all so proud of you. A few weeks ago, when I was sitting in the audience and you were standing up on the bima practicing, I thought to myself, wow, she is ready. You were chanting your Torah, and I was in awe. I really knew you were ready when last Monday, I was making dinner after soccer, like I normally do, and you were in the shower and I heard you singing, but then when I listened closer, you were chanting your Torah, and that's when I really knew. The following week when we came here for your final lesson, I was talking to the cantor and she said, that's what's supposed to happen, and then I knew you were ready. In your speech, you talked about Jewish traditions. One of the Jewish traditions is to get a Hebrew name. We were busy, I don't know what was going on in Tampa and Land O'Lakes, not where the butter's made. And I can't remember the craziness, but we were never able to fulfill that tradition to give you a proper Hebrew name. Luckily, untraditionally, we were able to do it last night. And I thought it was very special that you were part of picking your middle name. So Sarah Mia, and Mia means a good friend. And I thought that it really describes Sarah because she truly is a good friend to all. She's loyal, she's smart, she's beautiful, she's sporty, and we love you so much. So I just want you to take a moment and look out and thank all these wonderful family and friends that are here with you today, because we all love you so much and we're so proud of you.
So I was trying to think what I would say today, and I know we're limited on time, or at least we were asked to only spend a few minutes, so I could obviously spend all evening talking about you and all your accomplishments. I'm just blown away how the time has just flown by. I think back how, just the other day you were laying on my chest and you were this big, and where the time has gone. Obviously there's subtle reminders of me getting older, my hair, and unfortunately, I know your grandfathers are so proud of you, looking down on you, and that's a constant reminder that I'm getting older as well. But what I'm so amazed at every single day is just to see what a beautiful young woman you are turning into. You're independent, you're strong-willed, you are extremely competitive, and I love that. You take every task seriously, you put 100% of your effort, and it just shows us as parents how proud we are of the person you're becoming. And I'll give you guys one example of that. It just blows me away. I look at Aaron, and just 4 years ago we were up here, and he's like a man, and he was just a young man at that time, and now he's taller than me, and soon you will be too, I hope. Thanks, Mom. But what is just amazing is when we're not around to know that, what kind of person you are. But I was bringing Sarah and one of her friends home from one of their soccer matches, and they wanted to get food, so of course I went through, and as we're sitting there waiting for the food to come, Sarah and her friend obviously frequent this establishment. It's a hangout place after school. And the two guys were like, "Oh, I love that girl. She's so sweet." And then one guy came to the window and he saw Sarah in the back, and he's like, "She's my favorite. And she's so sweet. She's so polite." And to me, that just shows us the type of person you are. Even when we're not around, the way you take care of others and care for others, you're just a genuine, honest, loving person. And I can't wait to see what your future holds. I'm so proud to be here with you. You should be extremely excited. The hard part is over. Now we go on and we get to party. Mazel tov. I love you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you, and we definitely appreciate you following the time limit, so very nice. And I know there's so much more to say about Sarah. So next up, we have a leader in our congregation and beloved friend of the Weisberg family, Caroline Smilowitz, to share some words and some gifts on behalf of our congregation.
Sarah, what a great job you did this morning. It has been such a treat to see you and your family enjoying this special occasion and to know that so many of your family, friends, and relatives were able to be here in person to celebrate. I'm delighted to be joining you today representing our congregation and Temple's Board of Trustees. Our Temple Religious School and the B'nai Mitzvah program do an amazing job of preparing you and your friends for this special day. This morning, you have demonstrated your readiness and enthusiasm to participate more fully in the religious life of Temple and certainly to continue with your Jewish studies. I have some gifts for you. But wait, not yet. I will be quick, but I have a few things I'd like to review. Sarah, the first day I met you, you ended up spending the night at my house and sleeping on my family room floor with 10 kids you didn't know. 2 months later, you spent a week with me at Camp Caroline down at the lake house. I knew then something about you. You are brave. Since then, I've seen you go off to 2 summer camps on your own. I've seen you excel at soccer, both in club and at school. I've seen you wandering around Publix like you own the place with friends and hanging out at the Fields and Wendy's after school. My only advice to you today is this. March bravely into the next stops in your journey, and you will find amazing success and create an incredible story to share later in life around some fire pit when you host Camp Sarah and bring along a neighbor kid that you just met. Okay, now for the gifts. Okay, on behalf of Temple and the Board of Trustees, there is a Kiddush cup. There are candlesticks for Shabbat from Sisterhood. There is a beautiful mezuzah from Temple Clergy and a travel edition of the Hebrew Bible from our Temple Brotherhood. You also have in here certificates on behalf of Temple, your Bat Mitzvah certificate, which you need. We are also pleased to present you with a very special gift from the Jewish Federation of Jacksonville. They have a certificate that enrolls you in the Federation's Joan Levin Gift of Israel program. Federation will provide a subsidy of up to $700 to apply towards a journey to Israel, which can be used for almost any organized Israeli experience. There's an additional certificate for $250 from NIFTY for any NIFTY program in Israel. Sarah, all of us, your family, clergy, teachers, the congregation, we look forward to sharing many more occasions with you and your family here at Temple. This is your Temple. Once again, on behalf of our Temple family and our Board of Trustees, Mazel Tov. That's
Thank you. So now I get to share a few words with you, Sarah. Of course, Mazel Tov. As you know, and as we've just heard, your family and friends and our temple community are so proud of what you've accomplished. It is clear that you put in a lot of time and hard work to succeed, and it has been wonderful for Cantor and your tutor Lori and me to all work with you and watch you learn and grow. You mentioned in your speech that for you, being Jewish means following the traditions that have been passed on to you, and your mom mentioned that as well. I would take that a step further and add that it also means deciding which traditions are meaningful for you and creating new ones to pass on to your future family. I hope that by achieving this milestone today, you feel a powerful connection with all who have come before you, as we talked about when we passed the Torah earlier, and that you are empowered to make the tradition your own, just as you have today. As you taught us this morning, the idea of community is a powerful thing. Today, you take on a new place in the community. You are a daughter and a sister and a friend and a teammate, and now you're a bat mitzvah. As a Jewish adult, you have become a leader who is capable of welcoming others in just as they've welcomed you. You have known what it is like to be in an unfamiliar setting, with lots that you don't know happening around you, and you felt how wonderful it was to be welcomed in and cared for by your peers. It is now your turn to use your knowledge to teach the people the songs and the prayers and the holidays that you know so well. Another powerful lesson that you explained for us is the concept of accountability. There are multiple ways to be accountable, and you reminded us, the harder you work, the more you can get out of an experience. When we're accountable to ourselves, we make sure that we are doing the right thing and trying our best. When we're accountable to others, we work as a team and have one another's backs. Accountability does not always mean success, so don't get discouraged if you can't always get an A on that test or win the game. Sometimes we won't do as well as we want to, but if we know we were as accountable as possible, then we can learn and try again. Accountability is an important way to build community because the more we're there for each other, the stronger we become. I was so thrilled that you managed to pull all of these very important ideas from a Torah portion that basically just describes Israelites in the desert working on a tabernacle and some priestly garments. They too, though, were accountable to their community, and they managed to complete these important projects by the end of your Torah portion. Once they do, they can start living as a holy people, one community together, continuing to be accountable to God, to one another, and to themselves. So Sarah, may you always remember how you feel right now, surrounded by the love of family and friends from near and far. You have been accountable to our sacred tradition by learning your prayers and chanting and teaching Torah. You have been accountable to all of us who supported you along the way. And most important, you have been accountable to yourself during this long and challenging process. This is a very significant moment in your life, and we are so happy to be able to celebrate with you. And in honor of you becoming a bat mitzvah, Cantor and I have a very special blessing to share with you at the Ark. Please rise. May God bless you and watch over you. May you always feel God's presence turn towards you and keeping you company. May you always feel strength and supported throughout your life, and may God grant you the most precious gift of all, the gift of peace. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may these words be worthy of coming true. As together we say, Amen. We continue now with Aleinu at the bottom of page 282. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, lateit gedula liotzer breishit, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Please be seated.
Page 293. Our thoughts turn now to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. Members of our congregational family are in the period of Shiva for Millie Hawk, the aunt of Rhoda London and Laurie Malamud, Iris Jacobs, the mother of Joel Shapiro, and Muriel Litt, the mother of Dr. Mark Litt. In the Shabbat, we observe the yahrzeit of Francis Abofsky, Stanley Baer, Myrna Lee Braverman, Carol Brody, Pat Pajorian, Adele Kahn, Joseph M. Carlin, Anna Elenoff, Fanny Evans, Paul Figura, Herman Foster, Harvey Friedman, Sarah G. Glickstein, Sam T. Green, Harold Greenberg, Bertie Himes Greenwood, Teresa Hamowitz, Ellis Hardy, J. Henry Hildebrandt, Carol Hourahan, Ben Jenkins, Norman Katz, Marlene J. Nieberg, Ben Rosenberg, Ann Sanders, Shirley Shaffier, Fred Score, Lillian Seidman, Robert Duke Seidman, Saul Silberberg, Abram Simon, Jacob Simon, William Tenenbaum, Seth Allen Tenenbaum, Alan Tucker, Clara Wern, Ethel L. Young. And at this time of memory, we also call to mind William Nortman and Dr. Stephen Weisberg. And if you have a name of someone else who you are thinking of at this moment, please go ahead and share that name with us now. So for all of those whom we've named aloud, and those we hold in our hearts today and every day, we rise as a community to extol God's name through the words of Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, page 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'alam u'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'miran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shulam rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. Amen. Please be seated.
Our closing song this morning is Adon Olam, which you can find on page 321.
Adon olam,
Adon Olam,
asher malach,
Asher Malach,
b'terem kol, yitzir nivra, ve'et nasa,
v'chefso kol, azay melech shemo nikra
Adon olam, ve'acharei kiklot hakol, levado yimloch nora Adon olam, ve'hu haya, ve'hu hoveh, ve'hu yiyeh v'tifara Adon olam, Adon olam, asher malach,
Asher Malach,
b'terem kol, yitzir nivra, ve'et nasa,
v'chefso kol, azay melech shemo nikra
Adon olam, ve'hu echad ve'ein sheni, laham shelo lahachbira Adon olam, ve'li reshit ve'li tachlit, ve'lo ha'oz ve'hamizrah Adon olam, Adon olam, asher malach,
Asher Malach,
b'terem kol, yitzir nivra, ve'et nasa,
v'chefso kol, azay melech shemo nikra
Adon olam, ve'hu eli, ve'chai go'ali, ve'tzorchav li ve'yetzara Adon olam, ve'hu nisi umanos li, menat kosi be'yom ekra Adon olam, Adon olam, asher malach, b'terem kol, yitzir nivra, ve'et nasa,
v'chefso kol, azay melech shemo nikra
Adon olam, biyado achid ruchi, ve'et ishan ve'ayira Adon olam, ve'im ruchi geviati, Adonai li ve'lo ira Adon olam, Adon olam, asher malach, b'terem kol, yitzir nivra, ve'et nasa,
v'chefso kol, azay melech shemo nikra Adon olam. Before we go, Sarah and family have one last job to join us up on the bima once more for Kiddush and Motzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
L'chaim, you can have a little sip there. Get you ready for lunch. And we'll conclude with Motzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Feel free to grab a piece.
Now, Sarah led our service so beautifully. She led us in our prayers. She chanted from the Torah. She even taught us Torah. So all that is left is for us to wish Sarah and her family a hearty Mazel Tov. Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov. Yehelanu, 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 Ulechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulechol Yisrael.
Mazel Tov and Shabbat Shalom.
I'm just gonna collect your stuff into our binder, and then everything fits in this bag, so I'll just bring it down.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm putting this one in. Where did her speech end up?
Maybe she took it.
I don't have it.
It changes the whole experience being able to listen.
Yeah, it's perfect. That was brilliant.
So they're all the same Torah. Traditionally, we keep more than one, so they're supposed to be, kept in the ark because they're special, and we leave them there. But it's all the same Torah. We read different ones at different times because they all, you have to roll them to the right spot. So like the one on the end, we were in the beginning of the Torah, so we kind of left it there, and now we're in the second book, so we leave the second one there. So it's kind of helpful logistically. Right.
Live control, if you're paying attention, you can cut our feed.